Hey everyone, you're here with Mark Bowell at Perfectgardens.com. Have you ever wondered when your plants start flowering out in the state of Washington? Or if you need to use all the products in the Fox Farm line? Well, in this video, we're going to get into it. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Okay, so we got a couple great questions from ALM. He ended up watching Fox Farm for Newbies, ended up liking the video, very informative, I appreciate that, and he shared something that I thought was really interesting. He lives in western Washington state, and he told me that his plants actually start flowering on August 15th, and about 2 weeks later they start to show the pre-flowering process. I thought that was really interesting, and I came over here to my sunrise to sunset time calendar. And if you haven't checked out my videos talking about the importance of civil twilight and that your plants actually start flowering out when they start to receive less than 15.5 hours of light, please check out that video because this is really what you want to be going by, the civil twilight, not the astronomical twilight or nautical or the daylight. So you want to be going by civil. So as you come down over here and you come down to on the 15th, I was just wanted to double check and I was wondering, and after you do the math, he was absolutely correct that right here on August 15th is when they begin to get less than 15.5 hours of daylight. So I thought that was really interesting. Obviously, when you come up here on the states, as you can see, you're in California, and I reference in California and in Colorado right here how similar they are basically on the longitude, latitude. They're about the same, although as you can see up here in Washington, they start flowering August 15th, while down here, we start actually flowering around the third week of July. So July 21st to July 23rd. So once again, if you haven't checked out my video about civil twilights and how to figure out your own time zone and when they start to flower, please do so in that video. I'll make sure to include a link in this video. So let's go ahead and get back over to his other questions. Number one, is it imperative to use the additional additives? For example, I'm going to use MICROBE. Do I have to use the other ones, Holy Mackerel, Flower Kiss, and so on? Okay, so let's go ahead and go over to the feeding chart and go over these products. So this is the base nutrient right here, and if you're using the Fox Farm line, most important nutrients to use. All you had was the money to purchase these three products, it would get you through your entire grow. The next three most important products are the Open Sesame, BEASTIE, BLOOMZ, and CHING. By using these 6 products properly, you will be getting a decent yield and a decent quality. So let's go ahead and go into the Bush Doctor line. First off, let's just be really clear. The Boomerang, the KANGAROOTS, the MICROBREW are all the same product. I think these 3 is just a sham, personally, and I wish they would just combine all of these 3 products into one product. The Flower Kiss is a yucca extract, so if you're using it as a foliar spray or you're using it as a root drench, it basically helps so your salts don't combine, and it helps with surface tension. So it basically breaks the surface tension so the water absorbs quicker in the soil, which a lot of times when you have excess salts or just you don't basically put hay over your soil surface and you don't keep the surface of your soil moist and it begins to dry back, basically you create a surface tension. And if you can imagine, let's say you're drinking some water and you spill a little bit on your shirt and the first little bit of water just rolls right off, right? Well, that's surface tension, but then you spill a little more and it doesn't roll off, it absorbs into your shirt. Well, it broke the surface tension, and that's what Flower Kiss is. And again, you have to make that decision if it's right for you. Are you dealing with soil that dries back quickly? Have you incorporated a foliar spray program into your plants, or are you growing it in a relatively dry climate environment, which you might want to use a yucca extract? That is all your psychological thought process around the strategic planning on growing your plants based upon the environment you're growing them in. Like I said, the Boomerang, the KANGAROOTS, and the MICROBREW, I'm not saying that they're bad products. I'm just saying that I think they're the same product, and I think it's a sham, and I think they should combine these products into one product. The Holy Mackerel and the KELP U, I think, once again, this is a sham as well. I think they are pretty much the same product. You might have different numbers on the bottom or whatever, but one is a kelp extract and holy mackerel is a liquid fish fertilizer. So kelp and liquid fish fertilizer, they're basically the same thing. And so that's why, again, I'd probably go with the kelp me, kelp you over the holy mackerel personally, because I think you'll get the same type of nutrient feeding and you'll get the benefits of your kelp, which help with your microbiology. At this point though, if you're using the whole nutrient line, you've shut down your microbiology, which again is very interesting too. After about 900 parts per million or a high phosphorus environment, it shuts down your microbiology. So using these products makes these three products inert. So it's like, if you use these, you're just throwing your money away with these. And the same thing here with the kelp, it's still going to help you. Again, the kelp really helps with the beneficial bacteria and the mineral uptake. So it's still going to help. I would still recommend using this product with these two. And then the BEMBE is a sugar additive. So out of all of these, if I was going to use any one of these products and get rid of some and you want to use all the additives, I'd go with these. I would probably use a flower kiss, especially if you're going to use these products, just because of the excess salt buildup. If you wanted to, you could probably use one of these. It's not going to hurt anything. And I'm not saying it's not going to help anything, but it's not going to hurt anything. And then I wouldn't use the MACKERAL because you're using a lot of fertilizer already. You just don't need excess fish fertilizer. I definitely use the kelp because the kelp's going to also be similar to the flower kiss actually. So I would probably pick one or the other between the flower kiss and the kelp. I probably would go with the kelp over the flower kiss because it relatively does the same thing. This helps breaking up the surface tension. And like I said, you have to make the decision if in your area the soil dries back quickly and when you're watering it's not penetrating the soil, you might want to use this. But when you're using kelp for most situations, it's going to do some very similar things as the flower kiss. So once again, one of these isn't going to hurt, and I'm not saying it's not going to help. I probably wouldn't use this one, and you could probably get away with using the kelp me, kelp you versus the flower kiss, so go with that. And the BEMBE, I definitely would say use that at the end of your growing, just to increase flavor and taste. I think it's always made sense adding in a few more sugars. So let's go back to the questions. All right, I think we answered that pretty well. Number 2, if I'm using tap water and it's very consistent, is it reasonable to assume that I could just add? Yes, 100%. That's exactly what you want to do. When you are adding them, though, you have to realize that your new parts per million is 614. So you're going to have to reduce the fertilizer using probably after it starts to get up to the higher numbers. And so if it's getting past like 13 to 15 or 1700, 54 isn't a big deal. I'm just saying if you did have higher parts per million than anyone out there, you're going to need to reduce your fertilizer because you're compensating for the excess parts per million that's already in your water. And then will this affect your pH? You know, water does not read the textbooks, okay? And these are chemical fertilizers. So there are hydrogens being released and taken up. So could it affect your pH? Yes, it can. And I think it's always smart when using synthetic fertilizers to do your due diligence and check the pH of your water before and after you add your nutrients before giving them to your plants. Because remember, it's a lot easier to dilute it now before you give it to your plants than it is after giving it to your plants. Once you give it to your plants, at that point, if it was a good decision or a bad decision, you'll know within a few hours or even at times within a few minutes. Okay, I hope this video was helpful. Have a great grow, ALM, and please give me feedback around this. Thank you so much. Please like, share, and subscribe.